Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show, and thank you so much to Premier Danielle Smith for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Before the break, we were talking about sort of changes, tweaks to the differences between the Trudeau Liberals and the Mark Carney Liberals, and it does seem like you're telegraphing that they are more pragmatic, that they are more realistic, and they are more willing to work and collaborate. Is that fair to say?
Let me tell you just a prime example. So I talk about the 9 bad laws. I've mentioned a few of them, but one of them was the net zero vehicle regulation that was supposed to come in 2026.
Yeah.
20% of all cars being sold in Canada were supposed to be zero emission or hybrid vehicles. Alberta alone would have had to not only buy every car produced in Canada, but we still would have been short. And that's just Alberta.
Yeah.
So the only way to meet that target would be to start reducing the amount of gasoline and diesel powered vehicles that were sold. It made no sense.
No.
He put a pause on it.
Yep.
He's studying it for 60 days. I suspect he's going to discover that a longer pathway to achieve that aspiration.
Oh, I think we all know that is the inevitable conclusion, right?
Yes.
But that tomorrow is not today.
And he got there on that one. He got there on the retail carbon tax,
Yeah.
which was absolutely devastating to consumers. And so we think that he can do a review of all of the bad laws, bring them through the current context that we have. The current context is Russian invasion of Ukraine that created calamity in Europe. We've got continued conflict in the Middle East that creates instability. We have a problem with energy security writ large globally. We know that our friends in Asia would rather rely on a reliable partner like Canada than Iran or Venezuela or Russia for their products. And so those are the things that we have to realize in this new environment is that energy security is global security. And if we're going to be a partner with our NATO allies and a partner with America on military security, we've got to rethink the way we approach this.
Well, I agree with you. If we could be bringing that to the table, that's Canada as a middle power punching above our weight.
Correct.
And
let me add one more, AI data centers. I mean, I think that the world in the past was that the big data companies, they'd situate in a place that had reliable coal because they have to have absolutely reliable power. And then they'd come to a place like Alberta and buy wind and solar credits.
Yeah.
Well, now they need so much power that they've had to realize that you've got to get it from a reliable source. And natural gas is the one that can come on stream.
Well, what's his name? Kevin O'Leary was pushing a big AI data center, 7,000 acres.
Yes.
I don't know if that's happening, but what people should know is Canada is the perfect place to build these things because we've got all these small towns that are located in the north that have all the infrastructure that you need to deposit a giant AI data center up there, and all the employees will have a place to be.
Completely. I haven't had it independently verified that the site he chose could probably be the most perfect place in North America to build. And in addition, we complain about our weather, but our weather is an advantage in this case.
Absolutely.
The 6 months of winter, you end up having lower costs to cool it down. So, and also there's a lot of countries that are interested in sovereign compute. They want to be able to have their data secure, and we can provide that as well. So I would say that that's what has prompted a major rethinking. And I think we saw it during the last election, that the Liberals campaigned on Pierre Poilievre's platform.
Yes.
They said they wanted to be the strongest economy in the G7 and an energy superpower. And now we're seeing if they're actually going to implement the policies that they need to make that happen.
Well, let's talk about what's good for the economy. There is there's a rise in the sovereignist movement out west. How do you see your role dealing with it?
I have been trying, my role so far, I've been trying to give people such confidence in Canada that they won't sign the petition. That's what I have been hoping, because even though the initial petition being launched by somebody who's a pro-federalist would have asked the question, do you want to remain in Canada? If he gets the signatures, you have to remember that's a yes-no question. And there are consequences if the answer is no. And when you talk about the rise of separatism, there's always sort of this low-key, maybe 10 to 15% of people who are disgruntled in Confederation. But it dissipates really quickly when Albertans are able to achieve their aspirations. The story I tell, not to embarrass you, but my dad was a big Brian Mulroney fan. And what happened?
So was I.
I bet. And what happened was in 1981, there was a separatist elected to the provincial legislature. But when Mulroney came in 1984, he got rid of the National Energy Program, brought down interest rates, addressed inflation, negotiated free trade, and that movement disappeared. And so I've told Prime Minister Carney that Justin Trudeau created the modern iteration of that separatist movement, and he can do the same thing. He just has to address those bad laws that allow us to be able to develop our resources.
Now, there are, look, I don't want any separatist sentiment anywhere in the country, but they do exist. And there are differences between the Quebec version and what's happening out west. One is a grassroots version. The other is very top down. There's no talk of separatism until they elect a separatist party, right? And so that's, however, it does allow for provinces like Alberta and Quebec to perhaps find common cause, maybe see things through a similar lens. No, and I'm not talking about the lens of separation. I'm talking about the lens of we've got stuff we want to do and we don't feel that we can necessarily. So have you found a rapprochement with Quebec?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at where Quebec is at, and I think that they want to develop. They also are very interesting in that I think they've got over 60 offices internationally. And they do their own lobbying. I've been inspired by that. We've developed our own international offices, and I'm doing very much the same thing. But when you look at, say, for instance, Caisse de dépôt owns 20% of DP World Ports, which is out of Dubai, but they operate the ports on the west coast of Canada. So Quebec has a stake in seeing that we end up finding more markets to go to Asia. And those are the kind of partnerships that I'm looking for, is how do we find not just a triple win. I mean, if we could develop out that port in Port-au-Prince Rupert to the extent that I think they want to, that helps Quebec. It also helps CN, which is we would need to twin the line there. CN, of course, is another a company based in here. We are in Quebec. We also have the potential to develop inland ports so that you could also integrate air service. And guess who benefits from that? Air Canada. We also know that with the aerospace industry, we have a growing aerospace industry in Alberta. That also benefits the supply chain if we can find partnerships there too.
Is anyone building? Are you guys going to build that high-speed rail between Edmonton and Calgary?
I just talked with Alstom. And they're another company that I think you could. If we are able to partner on those things, it also helps the environment too. If we can take cars off the road, get people moved around more conveniently,
Premier,
safer.
If you build a high-speed rail between Edmonton and Calgary before Montreal and Toronto get one, heads are going to explode up and down the highway.
We're going to work on that. We've got a passenger rail. We've got a passenger rail plan that is about to be released, and I can tell you that one is one of the options.
Before I let you go, let's take a step back of everything, and I want to ask you, where do you see Alberta in 10 years, economically, politically, culturally?
You know, Alberta seems to me to be always at the forefront of change. And we take hard jobs and we figure out how to make it work, whether it's breaking the land in farming or ranching or gas, then oil sands, and now our next big challenge is how do we attract in the AI data centers and that technology. You might be interested to know that we have in 2024 we had 155,000 direct jobs in oil and gas and 194,000 direct jobs in technology.
Really?
Yes. And so that to me demonstrates that we're diversified. This was the dream of Peter Lougheed, is have a diversified economy, and it's finally happening. Yeah. So we're going to continue to diversify, but with oil and gas being the base to be able to help keep our economy driving forward, generate the revenue so that we can pay for the social programs people care about. That's what I hope we have. Yeah. I hope we double our oil and gas production. I hope we have new markets in Asia, and I hope that we have a very peaceful confederation that everybody benefits from.
Danielle Smith, a pleasure to talk to you in person for the first time. I hope it's not the last.
You bet. I'll be back again.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching the show. Now, if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode of The Ben Mulroney Show.